Everybody, welcome back to 3-Day Weekend. I'm Chris. This is Floyd. Floyd's up on the lift because we are going to be doing some bushings today. So you'll notice I already have some stuff taken apart. That's because I have to do brakes as well. Check out another video for that. And you don't need to have it on a lift. We have a lift, so it's easier, but you can just do it if you jack it up in the rear. So first thing we're doing, get the wheel off, take the caliper off. That's held on by two 15mm bolts right there. And now you are up to speed. Now to do the bushings, you don't need to take off the hub. You still need to take off the 27mm castle nut and the cotter pin first, of course. And then make sure the axle will slide out. Then you can take the whole assembly off with these two bolts right here that go through your bushings, and that'll come off. Sometimes this comes off really easily, and other times it is stuck on there. So if it's stuck, don't sweat it. You don't need to take it off for this one. But I'm replacing bearings as well, so I'm going to get this separated. I'm going to show you a trick. See how I'm moving this side? This side is not even budging. It's so locked in there because the nut has tried to back off over time. So the best way to do it without fighting over it, throw a 27mm wrench on there and give her a good hit as if you were tightening it with a hammer. The wheel is going to spin. That's okay. You just kind of surprise it. Give her a few hits. And now, see that? Now it's loose in there. Just relieve that pressure. Makes it a lot easier to get it out rather than fighting with it and breaking it and pain and suffering and everything that goes along with that. Count for 2 washers. Unless it's been replaced once already, it might have one thicker one. I think some other years might have just one thicker one too. Now this part, this is either going to move right away or it's going to be stuck. If it's stuck, put your cast nut back on there. And I make it so it's almost level. And then I make the nut just a little bit proud. Oh, good. This one's stuck as well. Perfect. Well, now I'm going to take out these bolts and get this whole hub assembly off. These are 15mm. Nut and a washer on the one side. I'm going to leave this in there just so that it's holding it. And then get the bottom one out. Bottom ones are the same, 15mm. And they also have a nut and a washer on the back side. Now, sometimes these have a lot of pressure on them, and sometimes they don't. Oh, this one came right out easy. And that one is in good shape as well. There it is. It's out. And we'll take it over to the bench to get the bushings out. Same thing over on the other side. Okay, bushing time. If you haven't done it already, because sometimes they fall out, and sometimes they don't, You gotta take these sliders out. See, they go down in there. Like I said, sometimes they just fall right out. It's easy. Other times, they don't really want to, so you just gotta drive them out. Screwdriver, a hammer, you know, something. Looks like this one. Ah, got it. Hey. That one I'll have to hit out. Sometimes you get lucky and they come out easy, and other times you have to fight them. So if you get lucky, that means you can grab onto them with pliers, turn back and forth and pull, and the bushing will come out. Yay! If you aren't lucky, that means that you have to drive them out from the other side, either with a screwdriver or something. But there's a ridge in there just to make it extra tricky. You don't want to be unlucky. So be oh so careful when you're grabbing them by the ends and trying to get them to turn. Because if you crush them, you're doing it the hard way. The new ones are pretty much just as easy to put in as they were to take out. At this point though, a lot of people like to grease them. I mean, it should work. Other people will argue that grease will hold the stuff in there and make it worse. I don't know, everyone has a preference. I'm not going to, just because these particular bushings are so cheap and so, well, usually so easy to replace. So I'm doing the vise trick just to get these fully seated, just like that. Don't forget, slide your new sleeve in there. Now it's time to put them back on the machine. They are directional, so make sure you don't put the wrong one on. If you were to attach that one, the wheel will be pointing way back. But this one is just right. If you had to replace any of the inners, you would have done them at this time too, which is just those two bolts and the whole arm comes off. This one, you have to take the shot and the sway bar link off, and then that whole thing comes out. But I'm gonna grease those. Well, I did grease them up. We're gonna see how they are now that it's got a new bearing and new bushings. Time to put this back on. Don't forget, you got a washer. Torque those up pretty tight. That was 15 millimeter. Took a little bit of coaxing, but I got it. You gotta line the axle up with the splines and the hub, and you can kind of feel when you have that, and then kind of get everything to go in centered into the bearing, and then it'll start going. And then I tapped on it with a hammer, and the axle wasn't quite out far enough, so I took a socket, kind of hit around that edge, and the axle just started to poke out, so I could grab it with a nut, and the nut will pull it into place. Now I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. Well, we got them in there. Brand new outer bushings. That should really tighten it up. Inner bushings, have them if I need them. They're so cheap. This is the cheapest bushing job that I've ever seen. Normally they cost a couple $100 to do them, but this one $2.99 a bushing, something like that. Not too bad. All right, well that's gonna do it for me today. If you think I earned it, give me a thumbs up. Really appreciate you watching. And while you're here, go ahead and click on this little blue icon. Subscribe to the channel. And we will see you next time on 3-Day Weekend.